term, he will have purchased at least part of Greenland. And at Polymarket, there's a 20% chance the ice shooter will be charged by March 31st. Some people are turned off by the very idea of offering trades on real-life events. This is actually nothing new, nor is the controversy. In the aftermath of 9/11, a Pentagon office seeking to prevent another terror strike was ridiculed in some quarters when it suggested that futures trading on terror attacks, assassinations, and coups might provide useful insight. In fact, when an internet site was established by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, they called it DARPA, under the control of then Admiral John M. Poindexter, who'd been Ronald Reagan's national security advisor, the plan was derided in some quarters as grotesque and morally repugnant. That Poindexter had been embroiled in Iran-Contra previously didn't help. Still, the Pentagon defended the program initially, saying that futures markets trading had been effective in predicting oil prices, elections, and even movie ticket sales, so why not terror? Ultimately, though, the plan was scrapped. At the time, a columnist at the Philadelphia Daily News lauded the effort, writing, "It may sound crazy, but markets are great predictors of world events. The point here was that collective consciousness of experts could be an effective intelligence gathering technique." Hey, that columnist was me. I also cheered when it was revealed that just weeks after 9/11, the Pentagon assembled about 30 of Hollywood's top creatives, A-listers with credits like Die Hard, Training Day, Hill Street Blues, Platoon, Friday the 13th. They gathered them all for a bull session where they brainstormed on potential terror scenarios. The 9/11 Commission would ultimately conclude that the most important failure was one of imagination. It's now a quarter century later, and there's increasing receptiveness for out-of-the-box thinking. Maybe Admiral Poindexter is owed an apology. Predictive markets are having a moment, as Politico noted in a lengthy piece last year suggesting that political betting might upend conventional polling. Quote, "The rise of political betting is not just lucrative for the bettors and the platforms, it also advocates hope that one day it can replace the political prediction industry generally and remake the larger political media ecosystem." And then there's this quote, "Traders are incentivized with cold, hard cash to separate the emotion, to make a bet with their head rather than their heart," said John Aristotle Phillips, the CEO of the betting platform Predicted. That means the boosters argue that they're more accurate than traditional polls and analyses of those polls. Some worry about insider trading. In early January, somebody wagered $30,000 that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro would be forced from power before the end of the month. The bulk of the trader bids were made just hours before President Trump announced the surprise nighttime raid. It was long odds. So when it happened, that bet paid off at $400,000. That wasn't the only time the predictive markets were right. Academics from Vanderbilt compared conventional polling to Polymarket regarding the 2024 election and concluded that the betting market was a better predictor than the pollsters. Also studying this phenomenon is my next guest, Rajiv Sethi, an economics professor at Barnard College, Columbia University. He too analyzed the performance of the predictive markets in the 2024 election and found that they performed better in the presidential race than for those in Congress. So, as we move toward the midterms and thereafter, the presidential election of 2028, continue to pay attention to polls, but also the wisdom of crowds, reflected in predictive markets. The idea that the collective judgment of many participants willing to risk their own money can produce accurate forecasts about future events. Professor Sethi joins me now. Professor, thank you so much for being here. Why might predictive markets do better than polls?